At SpecialEffect, we are always on the lookout for games that use fewer controls. We find that using fewer controls can be useful as a starting point when practicing with a new custom controller, before potentially adding additional controls to a setup. It can also be an important characteristic to look out for in its own right for many players when looking for an accessible game to play. In today's video, we will take a look at a selection of games aimed at a younger audience that can be played using only a single joystick and 1 to 4 buttons. We will focus on the controls that are used in the gameplay. Other buttons, such as a pause button or home button, will also be needed to pause the game and to navigate your console. All the games we show, except for Mario Kart, are available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Nintendo Switch consoles. Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Nintendo Switch is a racing game where you can race as your favourite character from the Mario game series. You can either play the game using just one joystick or just one switch, depending on which settings have been turned on. If you turn on the auto accelerate option where the vehicle will move forward by itself, you can use a single joystick to steer the car. Alternatively, you can turn on a smart steering option where the car will always remain on the track by steering itself, and you can hold the A button by default to accelerate. You can also brake by pressing B and throw an item by pressing L. My Friend Peppa Pig. In My Friend Peppa Pig, you control Peppa's friend as you interact with the characters seen in the Peppa Pig TV show. To play this game, you need a single joystick to move your character left and right, and to make selections from the options on screen. To make selections and interact, you use cross on PlayStation, A on Xbox, or B on Nintendo Switch. These may be to interact with a character, to enter a location in the game, or interact with an object. You'll be prompted on screen with an icon showing the button required in each of these instances when you need to interact. Bluey the video game. Bluey the video game allows you to play as Bluey and her family. You use the left stick to control your character and the face buttons for the actions. The left stick is used in all 4 directions as you move through the 3-dimensional space, following the on-screen prompt to get to the next objective. The buttons used are cross on PlayStation, A on Xbox, and B on Nintendo Switch for jump, and square on PlayStation, and X on Xbox, and Y on Nintendo Switch for action. You will need to combine left stick directions and the jump button to use them at the same time to jump onto objects. You also use a button to throw and kick, which is circle on PlayStation, B on Xbox, and A on Nintendo Switch. To use the games wheel to open the minigame menu, you use triangle on PlayStation, Y on Xbox, and X on Nintendo Switch. You can also add more players to play in local multiplayer mode with up to 3 additional players. Paw Patrol on a Roll. Paw Patrol on a Roll is a side-scrolling game where you play as the pups from the TV show. The aim of the game is to go through levels, collecting paw treats and performing rescue missions. The game uses a single stick to move the character left and right, and a jump button. There are several obstacles that you have to get past where you'll have to select one of 3 options, which are each assigned a different face button. For the most part of the game, you use left stick to move your character left and right. For PlayStation, pressing the cross button will make your pup jump. Pressing it twice will make the pup double jump. You will need to press jump at the same time as holding the stick to move and jump in a direction. Cross will also allow you to interact with objects such as rope. For Xbox, this would be the A button, and for Nintendo Switch, this would be the B button. You have to sometimes get past obstacles such as lakes or getting up over houses. In these instances, 3 options will appear. You have to choose the right gadget to get across each obstacle. Each option has its own button, so for PlayStation, this would be square, triangle, or circle. For Xbox, this would be X, Y, or B, and for Nintendo Switch, this would be Y, X, and A. There may be some points in the game where you have to use all directions of the left stick, like going through a maze or using the pup X-ray. Another part of the game where the joystick controls are slightly different is when you're flying or swimming underwater. You can only use up and down during these parts as you avoid birds and fish. PJ Masks Heroes of the Night. Like Paw Patrol, PJ Masks Heroes of the Night is a side-scrolling platform game where you play as the characters from the TV show. You use your superpowers to stop the nighttime baddies, while exploring 8 PJ Masks locations and collecting gems. This game has identical controls to Paw Patrol on a roll, where you use the joystick to move, have a button for jumping, and have obstacles to overcome by pressing one of 3 buttons. Much of the game uses left and right directions on the left stick, but when controlling different heroes, they are also able to use their special abilities. For instance, when flying, you also move the left stick up or down to go higher or lower. You also use up and down directions to climb up and down buildings, combined with left and right directions to navigate around obstructions or to collect gems whilst climbing. To jump, you will need to combine a direction on the left stick whilst pressing jump to jump in that direction. To fly, you initially hold the jump button to get airborne. To super jump, you press the button to jump and then again whilst in the air. The jump button is cross on PlayStation. For Xbox, this would be the A button, and Nintendo Switch would be the B button. You sometimes have to get past obstacles such as enemies. In these instances, 3 options will appear and you choose the right power to get past the obstacle. Each option has its own button prompt on screen, shown next to the power. For PlayStation, this button would either be square, triangle, or circle. For Xbox, this would be X, Y, or B. And for Nintendo Switch, this would be Y, X, or A. You get a clue as to which option is the right one by one of the other heroes, who will give you advice throughout the game. Instead of using a standard gamepad to play these games, you could use alternative controllers depending on which console you're playing on. For example, on PlayStation 5, you can use a PS5 Access controller. You can remap the controller to create the control scheme you need for your game. You could use the switches and joystick that are built into the controller, or you could use external switches and joysticks by plugging them into the 3.5mm jacks, and then assigning them a function through the Profile Setup menu. For Xbox One and Xbox Series, you could use the Xbox Adaptive Controller and create a setup using external switches and joysticks. This controller can also be used on a PlayStation 4 using a Titan II adapter. For the Nintendo Switch, the HurryFlex can be used instead. For more information on the PS5 Access controller, Xbox Adaptive Controller, or HurryFlex, please visit our Game Access website at www.gameaccess.info. We hope that this video has been useful to help you find games that can be played with a reduced number of controls. For more information on games that use a reduced control scheme, please use the Games category on gameaccess.info. For information on alternative controllers, please use the Equipment category. Finally, for more information on sharing controls to play cooperatively, please use our Cooperative Play tag on the site.